Hi, in this video I am going to show you how to install MayaStar 7.1 for Maya 2022 through 2025. Okay, the first part of this video is going to be just showing how to install it if you're installing it for the first time. Then after I do that, I will go over to what are the things you need to do if you're updating from an older version of Maya, or MayaStar I should say. So here we go. Go next. Accept the agreement. Next. Now here it's going to ask you for a product key. Now the product key should be in a TXT file that's in the zip folder that you downloaded when you downloaded the installer. All you have to do is open up that TXT file in Notepad or WordPad and then simply copy the key and so highlight the key and copy it and include the dashes, so the dashes that are between the letters and numbers. So you just highlight the whole thing, copy it, and then what you'll do is you'll just come here and you'll paste it just like that, and then you click next. Now this is a warning. This is for people who have an older version of MayaStar already installed. So if this is your first time installing, you can just go ahead and ignore this. And if you do have an older version of MayaStar installed, this kind of gives you instructions on what you need to do. But we're just going to install real quick. So we're going to click next and then install. And it's actually going to install a copy for each one of those years. Even if you don't have Maya 2025, it'll pre-install it so that when you do get Maya 2025, it should automatically be there after you install Maya 2025. Okay, so we're done. So if you're just installing MayaStar for the first time, that's all you have to do is just that. Now there is a second installer for older versions of Maya 2014 through 2020, and I'll have a separate video for that. So if it's your first time installing MayaStar, you're all done. You're ready to go. If you had Maya open when you installed it, close Maya and restart Maya, and then the new MayaStar menu should appear at the top of your screen. Okay, so let's say you're updating MayaStar. Well, there have been a few changes. You may have noticed that you didn't have to navigate to where to install MayaStar. We decided, Optimo and I talked it over, and we decided instead of installing MayaStar into the scripts folder where you normally would install it, you know, the documents, Maya, the year or version of your Maya, and then inside the scripts folder inside the year, we decided to install it elsewhere because there were some people were having issues getting confused because some people were using the OneDrive instead of the traditional documents Maya the year scripts. You know, they were using OneDrive documents Maya year scripts. And so location, and so that was causing some problems. So we decided, hey, let's just install MayaStar in its own location, and that will make things a lot easier moving forward. So like updates will be even easier. This update is going to be a little more that you have to do. Future updates you won't have to hopefully do anything other than do the quick installation process that will be very similar to what we just did for installing it in the first time. Okay, so first thing you need to know is that you're going to have to uninstall all older versions of MayaStar before you install the update. So you're going to have to uninstall. So easy way to do it is you go to your Maya, you know, documents, Maya, the year of, doesn't matter, you'll have to uninstall all of them from 2022 to 2025. If you have multiple versions of Maya installed on your computer, you'll have to uninstall them if those versions or 2022 through 2025. Okay, but it's real easy to do. You can just go to Maya 2025 scripts and look for the little red icon that says MayaStar on there, and it will be this stands for uninstall, and you might have different numbers than 000, and then just double click on that and follow the instructions for uninstalling MayaStar. One of the things you have to do when you're uninstalling MayaStar previous is that you're going to have to deal with the user setup, because the uninstall process cannot uninstall the user setup. And so because other third-party plugins might be using the user setup, so we just don't want to delete the user setup. And so the user setup, so you're going to open it up with, say, Notepad. Okay, and then once you open it up in Notepad, you will notice that there's source MayaStar menu .mel. This is the little mel script that actually creates the menu at the top of your screen. And so you need to delete that line and click save. Okay, and you'd only want to delete that one line. You might have other third-party plugins that are using the user setup mel for their plugins, and so that's why you don't want to just delete the user setup mel. You just want to delete that one line. So I'm going to Control Z back because we don't need to do that, and say no, we don't need to save it. Okay, and so that's very simple. That's all you have to do, and you would uninstall. So if you went to Maya, and here's 2022, you would go into here, and you'd find the uninstall for that one, and you would uninstall it for all those years. If you have 2023, same thing. Go in here, you go and uninstall it. So you'd have to uninstall 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. So once you do that, you're ready to go, and you can just install MayaStar just like we did in the first 2 minutes of this video. Just install it as if you're installing it for the first time. Okay, so a couple of other things, just so that you know, because I think it's good for you to know all the details, is that when you install MayaStar 2022 7.1 for 2022 through 2025, I'm going to go through a little bit more detail, but if you don't want to know any more detail, you can go ahead and stop watching this video and go ahead and do what you need to do to install the update. But if you want to know a little bit more, like where MayaStar is now saved and how we're making it work, you might want to finish watching this video. But if you don't care about that stuff, you're done. You can stop the video. But for those of you who are curious, you notice I installed MayaStar 2022 through 2025 7.1. If you open up the Maya environmental there, you will see some new lines of code. Okay, now this is where MayaStar is actually installed. Okay, it's going to be in your program files, a MayaStar folder, and then the year. And that's what this stands for. It's good. This is telling Maya that there are scripts files, mel script files, inside this particular folder and where it's located. And this line here says, hey, the Python files are located in the same folder. And so so this is where they're installed, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Now, if you've installed, if you need to reinstall it for some reason, say you installed it for Maya 2022, and then you installed Maya 2025, it should be there. It should be there when you open up Maya 2025 for the first time, but if it's not, you can just run the installer again. Now, if you run it a second time, what's going to happen is it's going to duplicate these lines here. So you'll end up with something like, whoops, hold on. Let me get this. Copy, paste. So you'll end up with something like this where you have duplicate lines. Now this is actually just fine. It's not going to hurt anything. The duplicate lines are not going to cause any problems. But if you ever open it up and you say, hey, this is in here twice, it's not going to cause any problem. But you could go ahead and delete it if you wanted to. And so that's the Maya environmental file. And let me open up the program file here. Just hold on for a second. Okay, so now we are in the the C drive program files, MayaStar 7, and you'll notice that we have folders in here: 2022, 23, 24, 25. These are where all the MayaStar files are now located. And so if you didn't have Maya 2025 installed, it's now pre-installed with everything in there, and hopefully it will. All you'll have to do is install Maya 2025 and start it for the first time. Hopefully the menu will be at the top. If not, you saw those lines of code. You'll have to either run the installer again, or simply open up the Maya environmental file and add those 2 lines of code. And the end of those 2 lines of code correspond with the version. So these are the files for 2025. These are the files for 2024, and so on. Now this MayaStar folder right here is where the uninstall is now. Now that you can, if I wanted to uninstall that, I can just double click on this and uninstall the different version, MayaStar 7.1. Hopefully in the future you won't have to uninstall anything, and it'll be as easy as installing it for the first time. Now, if you don't have these other versions of Maya, you could delete these folders if you want to save space on your hard drive. You could do that if you really wanted to. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is a little bit more information that you might like to know. So hold on. Let me go back to the other folders. Okay, so here we are. Back into the Maya documents, Maya. Now, if these folders didn't exist, say you only had Maya 2024 installed, it will create these folders here, these other folders, and what it's going to do is the only thing that will be inside those folders will be the Maya environmental file. So let me find one. I think I have. Nope, not which one is it? Was it 2022? I thought there was one in here. Nope, I guess I have. No, that's right. I have all these installed. I have lots of Mayas installed on this computer. Hold on, let me go to another folder real quick. Okay. So this is actually OneDrive. Okay, this is actually the OneDrive. So what it does is, if we go into these, you'll notice that it only has the Maya environmental folder. So what it's going to do is it's going to, if you have OneDrive, it's going to create these folders, and it's just going to put the Maya environmental in there. Okay. But it's also, if you don't have these installed, it's also going to create folders in your regular traditional documents folder, Maya and those years. So that's why when you install Maya 2025, this file is sitting here waiting for it, with hopefully which will have the lines of code in there. Now see, I've done this video a number of times and uninstalled and reinstalled MayaStar, and so when I installed this a second time, it added a second line of code with the exact same thing. This is what I was talking about earlier, and it's not going to hurt anything. That would be fine. So this file will be already in that folder when you install Maya 2025, and hopefully it won't override or overwrite the file that's already in there. I'm pretty sure it won't, because that's when you run, like when you run a correction to fix Maya, I think it normally won't overwrite this file. But if it does overwrite it to where this is a blank file after you've installed MayaStar, you can either run the installer a second time, or you can simply add this line of code, these two lines of code. you know, it's the same lines of code. The only difference is at the end of these. You know, this is for 2025. If you were installing Maya 2024 for some reason, going from 2022 to 2024 or something like that, then it's the same lines of code with just 2024 at the end. And of course, it'd have to be in the correct location. So 2024. So say you're there. See, I've run this quite a few times. So, like I said, those extra lines of code, which are identical, are not going to hurt anything whatsoever. And if you're not going to be using any of these, you can just delete all these folders. It's where you decide when you install Maya. It asks you sometimes, do you want to use drive 1, you know, or do you want to use the traditional, or the usual place, which is just documents. Maya is a year is where you normally, you know, would have it. But so like I said, you can delete these folders if you're not using them. As you see in mine, let me pause the video real quick, go back to the other folders. So, okay, so this is where all my Mayas are installed, just my regular documents Maya, where they've always traditionally been installed. And so that's why all these are here, because I have all these different versions of Maya installed. So I could go over to the drive 1 and delete 2022 through 2025. I'm not using them at all. So I could delete those. If I didn't have all these different Mayas installed and was only going to be using Maya 2024, you could delete the 2025 folder if you wanted to, and the 2023 in your regular documents and on drive 1 if you wanted to. It's going to work just fine. So but anyway, I just thought I'd give you all that background information so that you know where to go. You can also uninstall MayaStar through the control panel, you know, uninstall programs, and you just click there, and there's MayaStar 7.1 2022 through 2025, 22, 23, 24, 25. And also older versions of MayaStar, you could also uninstall them from here as well. But sometimes they may not be labeled that clearly. So that's why I usually prefer going to the scripts folder. So alrighty, well, that's it for this video. Moving forward, updating will be a lot easier than what it has been. It should be a lot easier, a lot more straightforward, a lot more just like installing it for the first time. So awesome. Well, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.